One. Welcome to our feature matches here for week 4, Planechase League, and we are in the plane of Eldraine, where we have the unique deck building restriction of you can only have one type of basic land. So I think we'll see a bunch of different interpretations of how far people are willing to push their mana this week. We got Caleb here, who's firmly on the mountain plan. And he's going to be facing Christopher G, who's actually playing his first match this week. So Justin's going to tell us about what he's going with here.
Yeah, so he's decided to put islands as his basic land type.
Okay.
Uh, to be clear about basic land type, it means you can only put like a basic land of a type. You can still put the dual lands that have the subtypes of basic lands, but you
Yeah.
can only have like let's say one island, one swamp, one mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Simply put, all non-basics are on the table. Basically, any non-basics you possess can go in your deck, regardless of what you've chosen. All right, so Kale's going to go for a Sticky Fingers here. A card you didn't see too much in its own format, but a mono red deck here is just trying to attack. He's going to get a treasure, and he's gonna get a land here. So pretty good. Caleb's he was 8-7 to end off last week, but he's gone on a 4-0 run with presumably the exact deck that we're seeing so far tonight. So he's 4-0 this week. And Christopher G's on the opposite. He was doing very well to end last week, 10-5, but has not yet played. So this is going to be his first match. So yeah, it looks like it's off to a good start for Caleb. What's Chris got there?
he currently has a draw spell. I think Drawn from Dreams is a draw spell. I think it's like the Dig Through Time sort of effect, where you look at the top 7, you could pick two in
Yeah,
your hand.
it is a sorcery
Uh,
though.
oh, is it sorcery? Okay.
Yes. So presumably
Okay.
he's doing something this turn.
Okay, well, he's gonna try and ambush this Firewalker with a Merfolk Trickster.
Okay.
Uh, Other things in his hand, he has some big cards, the Cogwork Archivist and this Undersea Invader. Not, it does have flash, but doesn't block, so
Ah,
not really a
yes. The
surprise
the
blocker.
yes the big lumbering flash creature that comes into play tapped.
And he has an Echo Inspector, another land, so he'll be able to play stuff. Not exactly interact with the opponent, though.
Yeah. So while the Firewalker's losing menace here, he still gets a draw card because the Sticky Fingers is granting the ability rather than it being part of the creature itself.
Yeah,
So
and and talk about Sticky Fingers. It's actually quite decent in this week, just because
yeah.
uh, people like to splash cards, and Sticky Fingers is kind of like an easy way to like not go down to be able to get that treasure to be able to splash like whatever card you have in your deck.
Yeah, I don't see any splash cards just yet, but he has a tramway station, so there might be something black in there. Or he might just be playing that and hoping to get a treasure to crack it. Either way, he's got a Keldon Strike team he's thinking about playing. He's also got he's going to go for the Illustrious Historian. I think he'd rather kick that Keldon Strike team. Also in his hand, he's got a Mascot Interception. So it's a 4-mana active treason. Ready to Rumble and Teach by Example. That can copy a spell. So if he gets ahead, he copying an active treason or even a 5 damage spell, could be trouble here for Chris depending on what he's doing. But Echo Inspector is a very very good card.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that for Chris is that this Academy Wall is not exactly the best active treason target, and it's also good against active treason in a way that will just block the creature you usually take with it.
Yeah, he's gonna have a hard time getting around these creatures. I mean, he could spend 5 mana to kill the Echo Inspector, but I'm sure he'd rather be be killing it for cheaper and being more proactive here.
What's the
Um,
5 mana card that actually kills?
yeah, it's a Ready to Rumble, so it can deal 5 damage to a creature or
Ah, okay.
planeswalker. I think it destroys an artifact as well.
So Chris has decided to discard his 6th land.
Yep.
Uh, he does have a couple of 6 drops, so I think it might be valuable. I think he just believes with the Drawn from Dreams, he will find that land if he really needs to.
Yeah, so he's got a
And
Doom Scar Titan off the top, which ended quite a few games back in its day. I think he's just going to play it as a 5/4 here. Yeah,
yeah, she's getting the 5 damage. And
yeah,
it's still a 4/4 at the end of the day. Won't be able to get past the Academy Wall after this turn, but
yeah. And this let him at least attack with his 3/1 and have it not the illustrious historian not just die to the to the Echo Inspector. So Yeah. Yeah, getting 5 damage in is pretty good. Like, if your opponent's playing mostly blue, you're figuring there's probably not a lot of life gain in there. So that's probably something that, you know, Caleb might have on his mind when he sees islands.
Yeah, not much interaction I've seen from this blue deck so far. Like he's drawn a memory lapse, which like blue known to like interrupt your opponent, just like counter their spells,
Yeah, that's
bounce
a good
them,
one.
and I haven't seen much interaction, but it's I guess it was all in the top seven with he has a make disappear and out of the way and a time of ice.
Yeah, so he's looted away the memory lapse, was it?
Yeah, I think that he was figuring that he just has a lot of big spells in his hand. He could just cast them all, and eventually those will just be enough against a red deck because red typically has a hard time dealing with some very high toughness
Yeah, it's
creatures.
just between the removal spell, the act of treason, and 5 power of haste that is all in his hand. It's going to be tough to answer this all with just one or two cards.
Yeah, like in his hand, Chris, like as I said, he has Undersea Invader, which I believe is a 5/6.
Yeah, it's a 6 mana 5/6. So he's just gonna throw everything in here.
Yeah, just try to get beat that wall with many.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have a trick here. He's just pushing damage.
So with the out of the way, like he does actually have finally some interaction, and he has a Phyrexian Espionage if like the game ever goes longer and he needs to cast a draw
Okay.
spell. But I feel like if he ever gets to cast a Phyrexian Espionage, I think Caleb will lose.
No,
So
so no
just by the
non-blue
nature.
cards have been cited yet, I guess.
No, no, non blue cards have been
Okay.
cited. It looks like he's gone a very fair approach,
Yeah, because
no,
I've
or
seen a lot
actually
of
non
different
greedy.
I've seen a lot of different approaches to this week. I've seen pure monocolor. I've seen splashing a couple cards. I've seen cards that are almost running like a full second color thanks to the amount of fixing they have. Usually the green decks. I've seen decks that are like splashing for 3 other colors, like just because they have enough fixing. So I've seen a lot of stuff here, but Caleb's going to simplify this game with the stealing 2 things, which I had mentioned at the outset,
Yes.
being a distinct possibility. And
Yeah,
I
I
also
think.
get +2/+0. Okay, wow, pretty good.
Yeah, I think. Basically, all this is able to stem from just like Chris's game plan wants to outvalue the opponent by drawing cards. But the thing is, he spent time. You still have to spend your like time to draw cards, and that time could have been spent to you to instead of drawing cards, he could have spent time to defend himself, but he wasn't equipped to do so.
Yeah, so Caleb's got a fun little blue thing going on here. He's got a Balmor, the Battle Mage Captain. He's got to
Okay.
solve the equation, which can go get him a Magma Opus, or if
Ah,
he's
that's a
or
good
if
one.
he's really lucky on his mana, a Hostile Takeover as well in his deck. So
Okay.
he's kind of doing what I'm doing, which is playing one color with a 3 color card and then a couple of cards of another color. So I'm doing a similar thing.
Okay.
Trying to play a 3 color card. Um, so he's looking at
So
taking out things like Sticky Fingers and Expanded Anatomy, maybe against blue, and it's maybe bouncing or tapping. So he's brought in just
yeah, yeah,
a
for sure.
couple of bigger creatures, like a 4/4 for 4. I think it's called Rampaging Cyclops from Dominaria, and I believe it was a
Okay.
Scuttling Butler, which is just a 4 mana 4/1. So just some bigger creatures. Just don't need the little sticky fingers here if he has bounce or tapping and things. So just play bigger creatures.
Notably, it does. I feel like because he has the three-color card, the Sticky Fingers is more justifiable. But like, it might be harder for him to cast that like hostile takeover if like he doesn't have access to treasure.
Yeah, I think based on his deck, like the hostile takeover is kind of like a last like it's not the main plan of the deck. It's something that he can do.
Okay.
All right, so he's got
So
a yeah.
Chris opted to just not sideboard at all. He just found like I'll just play more defensively. I'll use my card draw when like in when I really need to use it.
Yeah, did we see any non-blue cards in his sideboard?
No, the way he had his arena thing formatted, he had the other version which I couldn't see the entire deck. But from what I could see, I did
Okay.
not see a single non-blue
So
card.
these were just deck thinning then, these lands he played.
Well, yes,
They're
typically,
not actually fixing. They're just like an evolving wilds that can only get
yeah,
blue.
yeah. And this week these lines are particularly just like gain a life. gain a life tap land
Yeah,
in general.
I left Evolving Wilds out of my deck this week. Seemed fairly pointless. So, yeah, Caleb's got a bit of a slow start here. He's got a Cleansing Wildfire in hand, which I think is sort of tech against these decks that are maybe splashing.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I thought,
Kill the splash line because like they're unlikely to have too many other sources. So that's a fun little one. He's got two removals in his hand. He's got Raven Wings, Solve the Equation, and a Mountain. So no creatures except for this Juggernaut that just got promptly put back on top. But he's got some interaction. He's got a Solve the Equation, which can go get something. Ooh, Shipwreck Dowser. That's a good one.
yeah, just buy him more time.
Yeah. So he's
Besides the memory lapse they got back, he has a actual beefy flyer in his hand with Zahid, Jinn of the Lamp.
oh yeah. It's a
With
classic Mahamudi Jin, I believe, is the callback.
yes,
Right. So here's a
if he has an artifact, he
pickpocket.
can use it for less.
Okay, so he's going for the tempo game here. Memory lapse, and now bouncing the creature, and then memory lapsing something next turn.
He's drawing a suspicious good bookcase, but I think you know I was just gonna discard. He's thinking of just discarding the open faced memory lapse because well, counter spells are a lot worse when people know about them.
Yeah, and I mean he's got the advantage on board here.
Yeah,
So let's see what Caleb decides to do. If he just decides to redeploy his Juggernaut yet again. I'm not sure he has too much many other choices here. He could spend a removal spell to kill one of these creatures, I suppose. But that's
I,
terribly inefficient as well. So he's gonna solve. It looks like he's gonna solve the equation here, and he can actually get the hostile takeover,
okay.
which can wipe everything away next turn. So yeah, he's grabbing that right away, and thanks to the Archway Commons and the Tramway Station, he can cast that. So unless Christopher has a counter over there, he's gonna get his creatures wiped out.
Yeah, it's kind of. I didn't mind I understand why you didn't want the memory lapse because the counter spell it's open faced. But if he was going for this tempo style of game, like the memory lapse, not a hard counter spell, but can buy you time, and that's what tempo is all about.
Yeah, Caleb was probably. I mean, he's not thrilled to go to 10 here, but he's probably pretty happy that there's a good chance his takeover is going to resolve. Either that, or in his mind, maybe Chris just had a hard counter and kept that.
Yeah,
But looks like it will resolve, from what I could tell.
yeah. He's only really holding up Merfolk Trickster here, so he can hostile takeover, wipe the board. Besides this like bookcase, I'm assuming,
Yeah, he can
and
he can kill both of the attackers and one of the
yes,
walls here.
but yeah, Chris holding a whole bunch of six drops, just willing to find that six lands. He could deploy his Zahid, his Silver Crocodile, or his Cogwork Archivist.
Yeah, it looks like a
Just get a
kind of a high curve here for his deck, but he's got some ways to smooth it out here. He's
and maybe
already
some ways he's just drawing it out.
all right. All right, so he's gonna tap him out of a mana.
I like what he's doing here because he's basically just saying all the hard counters, like a lot of them tend to be 3 mana.
Yep.
So he's probably gonna make him float the mana, then just go to second main phase and cast Hostile Takeover.
Yeah. So he's just gonna let that mana go away. I think the bookcase. Let's see what he decides to keep. Bookcase looks like it could be more threatening because it's guaranteed damage. But all that to say, Caleb has 3 removals in his hand and a Juggernaut, so things are not going to stay in play unless they have more than 5 toughness. And even that
So,
Zahid that you mentioned, he could team up one of his 5. He has a couple of 5 damage spells with Anishiv and Fire. So all right, well,
here,
there's the
here
Zahid
comes
that
Zahid.
came down on the cheap, but Caleb's gonna be. I mean, he can't even really try and play Juggernaut and block it because the bookcase can give it unblockable.
Yes, it's open faced here. I'm a bit I'm a bit I'm wondering why he didn't play the Merfolk Trickster. Much probably thinking like Zahid will kill in 2 shots, so Merfolk Trickster can like tap down a flying blocker because you see the Raven Wings.
Yeah, Caleb is going to be forced to spend 2 cards killing this Jin on his next turn. Not exactly where he wants to be, but I'm I kind of would have been tempted to just do it right away and save myself the 5 damage here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here comes a Wall of Runes. Make disappears on top of the deck. Not very synergistic with all these zero power
Yeah,
creatures.
I wonder if he
But
has. I wonder if he has any wall matters things because we've seen three already.
I think it's probably just there to block because like doesn't have aggressive creatures. So how do you stop aggressive creatures? Just play these walls.
Yeah, it gives him time at the very least.
Though it is funny if Juggernaut ever goes on the floor, it can just like get through these walls. I don't actually the bookcase maybe not because bookcase might not be a wall.
I have to figure it's a wall. I mean, it's literally part of a wall, right?
Yeah,
A book like bookcase is part of the wall. I don't think it's creature shelf, right?
yeah, fair. Fair enough. So he's deliberating. Really needs that sixth land. He will find it, but he will have to wait to cast the sixth drop next turn.
Yeah, but with this juggernaut basically having to attack, and if Chris can string together a couple of creatures here, it's he's gonna find a way to win. This ready to rumble's gonna have to kill something, and Caleb's drawing another land here. I figure he's gonna crack his tramway station this turn.
He might actually think about killing this Merfolk Trickster because it is a threat to his life total. It will take 3 shots, but when you're trying to find answers, 3 turns can be not that much
Okay,
time.
so he's trying to teach by example, which means next turn he could kill two things with his ready to rumble.
That's good.
Yeah, so
It might
that
not. He might find it hard to kill the sewer crocodile because 6 toughness
is that
is
a
again.
is that a 3/6 or three? Oh
It,
yeah, 4/6. Okay.
I think he actually might be forced to double ready to rumble this crocodile.
Well, it can give itself unblockable, right?
Yes, but just because it can just win the game, so you might have to like forcefully ready to rumble it twice.
Yeah, he's running out of options here because every creature is a unblockable threat at this point.
Yeah, and that's where you say the hostile takeover. You said it might be more valuable to kill his bookcase, and it's really showing off here right now.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd rather have that than like an O5 that loots. Okay, it's fine, but an O4 that can push damage, especially when he was at 10. It wasn't like he was at 20, but all right, here's another 4/5. Like the hits just keep coming, so he's gonna be dead next turn if he doesn't draw something here. Fervent Paincaster is not the card that he can make use of here. Right,
Just
so
I,
interesting. He's
the
just gonna
book.
block to make sure he doesn't get like double struck or burn spelled or something. So he has
I
Lumina
mean,
on
I
board.
I like it a lot just because like it forces Caleb to basically have the removal spell or not, and even if it does, like he still has Echo Inspector in his head. He still has Introduction to Prophecy. He'll be able to find more hits.
Yep.
And as blue does, it will like eventually like have the better late game than red typically.
So he
So
saw
I'm
he
pretty
saw a
sure
bit
he's
more
fine
of the
with it.
deck here, so I think he's looking a bit more at sideboarding. So unfortunately, his Field of the Dead is not going to be able to be played here.
Yeah, his goal for the. I mean, he's already achieved his goal multiple
Oh yeah,
times.
oh
He's
yeah,
been able to
we've seen
get
it
a zombie off the field of dead like multiple times as I've seen.
even
But
in a feature match.
this,
Yeah,
yeah, this plane just not very. You know, doesn't really help that plan out much.
no. Yeah, so he's looking at. I mean, some of the red cards he has options to bring in. He has Light 'em Up, Radiating Lightning, so those target small creatures for the most part. Yeah, he's taking out some of these 5 damage spells. Let's see what he decides he wants to bring in. Okay, so introduction to an. He's bringing in 2 introduction to annihilations over 2 of those 5 damage spells, of which he has many.
I like it just because he's seen like most of his threats he's going to be dying to has 6 toughness,
Yeah,
and
he saw quite a few, right?
yeah.
He actually didn't see the 5/6 flash, but he saw the Jin. He saw the crocodile. I don't know if there was another, but he said, let's find a way to get rid of those. He has Magma Opus in his starting hand. That's kind of interesting. Looks like
Yeah,
Christopher's taking a mulligan here.
the creatures that typically give red trouble. That's why he just needs this colorless spell, and that's where Strixhaven, you know, helped out.
It's really rare that red can kill things of more than 5 toughness. Squash comes to mind, and a
Yes,
couple of times we've got ones that deal damage equal to lands that we that you have in play. But yeah, frequently 5. Once you get past 5, it's very difficult. So Caleb's got a whole lot of nothing here. He's got 4 lands, a teach by example, and he's got that magma opus. So if he's hoping to draw something in the interim, but All right, so he's
I
got a
mean,
rampaging Cyclops for next turn, 4/4 for 4. Um,
the,
if multiple creatures block it, it loses some 2 of its power, I believe.
the good news about the Magma Opus is that his opponent is playing blue. Blue is not known again for its quickness,
Yep.
so he most likely will be able to get to 8 mana this game, unless he just keeps drawing non-lands. In that case, I think you're happy anyways.
Yeah, so he's on a Keldon strike team, which he cannot kick at this time. But probably not very happy playing it unkicked.
The funny thing about this the Rampaging Cyclops is that it can't even attack past this 1/3 and 05 because if it gets double blocked, it becomes a 2/4 as the text
Well, I mean,
reads.
it can't even attack through the O5 period.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
yeah, these walls, I don't know how well it will hold up in the average matchup, but against this particular type of strategy, they're looking pretty good. Right, so Chris gonna solve the equation himself. Caleb solved the equation last time, but he didn't quite solve the equation needed to win the last game. So what's Christopher getting here? He's got the pick of any instant or sorcery in his deck.
Yeah, he's still deciding what to loot,
Yeah.
but the main reason for casting the solving equation was for the loot. He wanted to find a land because he did not have his fourth land, and he did draw into it with the Academy Wall. So his first goal, primary goal, was achieved, and now he can get whatever he wants.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Christopher needs to basically win with like his 5 and 6 drops, right? Because the rest of his creatures are not really attacking for very much. Maybe he has a few of those 3 mana 2/2 flyers or whatnot. So it's like he's just
Yeah,
gonna get more cards with his with his solid equation. He's just gonna hold down the ground here. But here comes the eternal enemy of walls everywhere, the Juggernaut.
yeah, the Juggernaut, the flavor text that we usually call it is actually very, very impressive right now.
Well,
With just
I'm sure it was relevant in Alpha, where like it's like
yeah, Wall of
a
Fire,
quarter of the
all the
creatures, a
classic
quarter of
walls.
the creatures were walls back then, or something. There was very, there was many walls, but yeah, funny that this might be relevant here. So
So yeah,
what's
he's this Juggernaut will cause problems. He will take 5, but then he'll probably just quench it down. No, unquenchable thirst it down, just like that. He could just be rid of this threat.
okay? That's the creature stays tapped, right?
Yes.
And it only taps the creature if you have a desert, right? Okay.
Yeah. So he gets the loot, he gets to discard this land, and then he drawn from dreams. Ideally, he's probably just gonna take 2 more lands.
Okay, so he just really wants to cast whatever's in his hand. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's taking a land here, and he has a choice between like Read the Tides, Cogwork Archivist, and Aerial Guide, and the other rest are lands. He will choose to take the Cogwork Archivist,
Hey,
and we'll just probably will get to 6 mana with this spare supplies.
and there's a backpack.
But yeah, Eldraine really focuses on because this plane is mostly encourages you to be monocolor. Uh, all the game plans of people are more or less predictable
Right, so, so,
because it
so
has
we get
this.
this fun text of the Keldon Strike team giving things haste no matter what order you cast them in. They worded it that way because so for the kicker, so everything gets haste.
Yep,
So he
makes
got
sense
his
to me.
Balmor haste here, so that's nice.
Yeah, I guess for Caleb's deck, any point of damage really matters, especially when you're going to be up against the mono blue slugfest
Yeah,
essentially.
he's 2 lands away from a Magma Opus here, so that's certainly not nothing.
It'll
Uh,
probably definitely catch Chris off guard here.
Yeah, his other card is a Teach by Example, which if he draws a cheap spell, he can potentially get a lot of damage in, depending on what that spell he draws is. It's going to be 2
Uh,
Balmor triggers and then whatever the spell does. Okay, so Pickpocket will at least slow this down for a moment.
the value in me tells me to wait to 10 mana so I can copy the Magma Opus.
Oh, well, I think casting Magma Opus is probably going to be enough if he can get there. Okay, so he's going to bounce the Cyclops here. I think he wants to try and trade with the Juggernaut and get this off the board finally. All right, so land number 7 coming down. Caleb's not. I'm sure he's not entirely unhappy to see that one.
Yeah, completely. When you're in a spawn in the game where you don't mind drawing a land or a non-spell, you're typically, in a great spot actually, especially when that card you're waiting to cast is as powerful as Magma Opus is.
Yeah, I think he'd like his opponent's life total to be a little lower, but Magma Opus can make inroads on that life total, depending on where he puts the damage.
Right. I think so. Let me recap. Let me think about what Magma Opus is. It does damage. It does 4 damage split among up to among targets. It taps 2 permanents.
Uh-huh.
It makes a 4/4 and draws 2 cards. Is that everything it does?
Well, you could discard it to make a treasure.
Oh, okay, yeah. The mode that you used for fun in Cube when you have Mythic's Mastery.
Well, you could do that in Strixhaven Unlimited also.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that was also a thing you could
Just
do.
just open them both or get past one of them.
Yeah. So for all it does, he still can't cast it, but he's just gonna attack all here. He'll trade whatever. Yeah. So gets in the one. Here comes the Cyclops, and he's hoping for that big impact spell next turn.
Yeah, so there is negate and memory lapse in Chris's hand, so his window for casting it is, quite literally this turn.
And so he's got the land. I think he's wise enough to try and play around a counter by maybe just hard casting it immediately.
Yeah, I think what he's gonna do is he's probably gonna kill this bookcase. I think he realizes this time that the book, well, because Magma also only does 4, but the bookcase.
Yeah, so he can kill the
Uh,
bookcase. He could tap 2 of the blockers. Everything's going to get +1 from Balmor. Draw 2 cards and have a 4/4. If
yep,
he waits,
sounds good.
he's gonna get punished big time here.
Yeah, between the negate and the memory lapse, this Magma Opus was never going to resolve after this turn.
Yeah, no, he's clocked that it's use it or lose it kind of situation here. Okay, so he's gonna looks like he's sending the damage to the 1/3 here.
Oh, I guess maybe he wants this 1/3 dead so that his Keldon Strike team doesn't have to trade off with it.
Oh, this could force. Oh, this it's gonna force the bookcase to block actually.
One
Oh no, it's not gonna
plus.
force it, but it's gonna put him really low if it doesn't.
In this situation, I think saving life total is correct.
Yeah. So he actually identified that he wants the bookcase gone, and this way he gets to deal, I guess, an extra damage than if he just killed it outright.
Okay, so here comes an unquenchable thirst. Ideally, to probably just lock up. Oh, he's gonna draw first.
Yeah. So the this archivist does have reach, so it can block the Balmor. The 2 cards that Caleb drew were sort of just these he drew an illustrious historian, the 2-drop, and the Tuskeri Firewalker. So nothing to push through the damage next turn, but you can just make a huge board, and then any spell will seal the game most likely.
Yeah, so he actually has 3 things up here. He has memory lapse, negate, and Merfolk Trickster.
All right. So interestingly, if Caleb wants to, at some point, he can just cast Teach by Example to get a Balmor trigger, even without another spell in hand. Like this is it's because it reads the next time you would cast it into a sorcery, copy it rather than copy target one that's on the stack. So he can just send it out there for a trigger if he thinks that if he realizes that it could win him the game.
Okay, so
So Chris let
he has
these
opted.
resolve.
Yeah, he's opted not to counter or cast Merfolk Trickster.
Okay, well he has to do something here, right?
Yeah, he's facing an
Okay.
army of creatures, and
You would think he would want to at least even throw the Merfolk Trickster, just have it out there.
yeah, but
It's
I think he thinks he's safe.
right, so
But
now he's fully shields up here. Wow, he's drawn a Yavimaya Steel Crusher, which is gonna absolutely. Wow, I thought that
oh
was gonna get countered
no,
because it can kill the blocker
oh
here. I
no,
thought that was gonna prompt a counter. Maybe he just escaped him that it had that ability.
oh
But
no, that's disaster actually.
yeah, I don't know what he can do here. I mean, I don't know if a Merfolk Trickster is enough.
He has to flash it in now.
Yeah, he has to stop something from attacking.
Oh
Okay.
no.
And like I said, Caleb could just fire off the Teach by Example to get a Balmor trigger. Yes, here comes the
Isn't he just,
Trickster. Let's see what the
isn't he just
Trickster.
dead on board now?
Unless he has some other interaction. Yeah, there's too many. There's way too many lethal threats here.
I
All
mean,
right.
sure you target the Balmor here, but you
Yeah. So
just teach for like trigger.
he's just gonna fire it off here. Give everything trample before it loses its ability, and unless he has multiple bounce spells or something here, we're gonna see a victory. So the Magma Opus paved the way for a victorious, victorious triumph here. 2 turns after.
Okay, so it's trying to find something off this memory lapse because of
Uh,
the Canmy Wall, and he's found a 6-drop. So,
he's drawn another Teach by Example, but Balmor has lost its ability. So,
that's funny.
but it would get cast twice.
Yes.
But of no use there. Yeah, so maybe he just forgot the ability of the Steel Crusher because I think if he did, he would have definitely countered it. But we see this mono red deck from Caleb, or mostly red deck, going 5-0 this week. So congrats on him for that win, and marching towards potentially another top 8. So congratulations once again to Caleb, and we'll be back in a little bit for the second feature match tonight.